Nelson, alcoholic addict. That is not my real name. It's a pen name that I use here at LOL Sober. It is that time of year again where people make resolutions. That means for me, I say that I ate way too many donuts this past year and I need to stop eating so many freaking donuts in 2022. And I make that resolution and then I white knuckle it for like 15 days, and then I end up behind a Dunkin' Donuts behind a dumpster, slamming 3 vanilla frosteds by myself. But yeah, resolution time. I'm mostly kidding around. It's been a few years since I did the whole January 1st resolution thing, but I have made many resolutions over the years, including when I was active. I made many January 1st promises to never drink or drug again. And obviously, I have a very low batting average when it comes to setting a resolution on January 1st and then following through. And that seems like a pretty normal thing. I drove past a packed gym parking lot on January 3rd, and I couldn't help but think there'd be a lot more parking spots available on February 3rd, and then March 3rd, and then April 3rd. It just seems like a lot of us make promises on January 1st, and it's hard to keep up with. I'll say 2 positive things about New Year's resolutions and how effective they can be. One is that on social media, I saw quite a few people celebrating their anniversaries on January 1st. So they had a year or 5 years or 10 years or whatever. And so that means there are a lot of people out there who hit their bottom at the end of another addiction year. And they did indeed get sober on the first of the year. So that's awesome. I joke around about New Year's resolution sobriety and also geographical moves being that clean break that an alcoholic or an addict might need. And it's because I failed with both of those things in the past. I thought that the flipping the calendar over would be the change that I needed, or a new apartment would be the moment that I would finally stop drinking and drugging. And didn't work out that way. But I have met people who that actually is the moment when they had enough momentum to finally make that big change. So bravo, glad you got there. However you get there, I'm glad you got there. The second thing is that sometimes in retrospect, a failed New Year's resolution isn't actually a fail. And by that, I mean, sometimes the New Year's resolution, it's the 13th time you've said you want to stop, and then it ultimately takes 19 times before you actually try to change, and based on the math I was taught, you can't count to 19 without including 13 in there along the way. So you got to get there. That's been the case for me. I think I probably made 5 New Year's resolutions years ago where I promised myself I was going to stop drinking or cut down, and I whiffed on all 5. And those failures were important. They were very important. They ultimately led to me actually having some success and actually changing, because it takes what it takes, right? I've probably broken 10 really harmful habits over the years, ranging from the obvious stuff that could kill me, like drugs and alcohol, to stuff that might kill me, but it will take a while, like nicotine, gambling, and donuts. And then there's a bunch of other smaller things in there. Like, for instance, one year I decided on January 1st that I was going to stop swearing for the year. And I got to like January 7th before I was like, that son of a bitch, what an asshole, With each one of those, I'm still swearing a lot, by the way. But with each one of those, it took more than one time of making the resolution and following through. I've just never gone one for one. It took repeatedly saying I was going to stop or slow down on something and then failing before I finally made that change. And so when I think about it that way, like, did my New Year's resolutions fail, or were they a down payment on a future important change that I made in my life? And I like to think of it more as the second one, that I made an investment that didn't work out that time, but ultimately paid off big time. So Happy New Year. I hope if you're looking to make a change, you make it. And if not, maybe slam down a donut or two and then try again tomorrow. Thanks for letting me share.